Wednesday, Wednesday, Wednesday. Whose favorite day of the week is Wednesday? And we even have Thunderstorm Wednesday happening here on the East Coast. So, Audrey, start off by telling us where you are and whether you have a competing thunderstorm happening or not. Then I'll introduce you formally.
I love that. So I'm in the province of Quebec in Canada, so I should be like right above you. I'm an
Yeah,
hour
you're straight
north
up.
of Montreal. Yeah.
Got
So
it.
we had our thunderstorm yesterday.
Lucky
So,
you.
yeah,
Lucky
that's
you. All right, well, ours is coming through. It'll just make some adventure on the Facebook Live. How's that? Hey, folks, I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. It's actually one of my favorite days of the week. I know that's strange, but it is. And one of the reasons it's my favorite day of the week is because I get to do yet another Facebook Live with another really cool Profit Concierge Campground group member. And Audrey is no exception. So she is, from a technical standpoint, a certified integrative nutrition health coach and a graduate of the Health Professional Academy run by my very dear friend, Shauna Menard. And Audrey helps women overcome their PMS symptoms naturally. So having been someone who had those issues, I'd be very intrigued and still am. After about 6 years of being on the pill and struggling with hormonal imbalances, she found her way to a healthy period and was really able to create the life she wanted. So now she's incredibly passionate about helping other women discover those same joys of their femininity and living a radiant life. She was born in Switzerland and now lives in Quebec, Canada, loves to travel and discover new things, and luckily loves to do Facebook Live. So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I love it. So PMS, like such a thing, a real thing. So you struggled with it for a while, it sounds like.
Yeah, actually, my story was a low from the very moment I got my period. When I was like 13 years old, it was all over the place to the point where my doctor was like, we need to put you on the pill right now because I was losing so much blood. I was bleeding for 9 days, then for 7 days not, and then I started bleeding. So I was losing more blood than I was not losing.
Yikes, that is a little scary.
Yeah, it was scary. And I was 13, I was like, what's happening? I would faint.
Terrifying at that age.
Yeah, super scary. So I was put on the pill, and then I did not understand how my body worked, so I was just super happy that I wasn't bleeding as much anymore. So I stayed on the pill until I was like, wait a minute, what is this thing doing to my body? And at that time, it's funny because I had depression, and I did not know what was causing it. And I went to a therapist. My parents were super supportive, and at that time I was like 17. They're like, we're going to pay for therapy. We're going to do everything. But therapy was just not helping. And I was like, something must be so wrong with me if, nothing that should work works. And at that same time, I was like, I'm curious about what the pill does to my body. And I actually discovered that was it. That was the cause of my depression. So I cut it and,
So you hadn't been depressed before you started taking it. You just, oh my gosh.
I was this
and it came at all the same time as teenagehood and all of those things. So you wouldn't have isolated it as the thing.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I guess no more pill for me. But then I was still I still had no understanding of how my body worked.
Did you stop it cold turkey?
Yeah. And secretly, because I knew my doctor was going to be like, no.
Time for another doctor, but that's another story. Yep.
Yeah, it's another story. So I cut it. Depression went away. And luckily, I did not start bleeding again as much. But then I still had PMS. I had fatigue, and I had bloating, and I had pain, and I had cramps, and I had acne. And everywhere that I looked, every woman had the same thing. So I was like, oh, I guess it's just normal. I guess I just have to suffer from it for the rest of my life. If I'm not on the pill to help me prevent it, then I have to push through the pain and do
so
that.
It was lose or lose is basically what was presented to you by traditional means.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. So what changed? What happened? Did you decide there was another way, or did you just discover another way? How did you wind your way through it?
Yeah, the other way fell on me on a plate of golden from heaven.
I love it. Those are the best kind. Those are the best kind.
Yeah, it was when I got to the point where I really felt like my period was holding me back in my own life. Like I was so exhausted, like the pain was so intense. So I stopped everything that I was doing just to recover for a couple of months. And during those months, that's when I learned more about nutrition and healthy living. And that's when I started to see, oh, actually, like I can feel a bit better when I take better care of myself. And that's when I decided to apply to IIN. And in my studies of IIN, we just had this like random person just quickly comment on PMS. And I was like, excuse me.
That's why I'm here.
Like, hold on. Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
So I went on my way and I researched it for an entire weekend, like day and night. I was just reading the books, looking on the internet. I was like, what? And then a month later, everything was gone. I was like, I feel happy. I feel healthy. I feel radiant. All of the suffering in my life, gone.
And no depression as an after effect. No. So one of the things, Trisha's saying there's some background noise. How bad is it, Trish? I'm watching your comments. So if you can let me know like how bad it is and if it's when we're talking or when Audrey's talking, let me know. Thank you for pointing that out. So the interesting thing here is you decided, well, you kind of decided you needed a break and then just happened to be researching health and nutrition and said, okay, this is another way. But yet you didn't find that and this is important for business owners and entrepreneurs. Well, another thing, we have a ton of women in this group. And if you've got any PMS questions, we have the guru here. So make sure you direct them to her. Drop them in the comments. Whether you're live or on replay, it doesn't matter. Drop them in the comments. But what I wanted to circle back to is even though you were going through IIN and the health and nutrition program and everything there was to know, there was nothing but a sentence on PMS. So you as an entrepreneur took that and said, there's a niche here that's not being addressed, or niche, take your pick, niche, niche. I like niche, it rhymes with rich. But you when you looked at it, there was nothing there. So you went and filled that space. Mm-hmm. So do you specifically and only work with women with PMS, or do you work with plenty of others as well?
So with the knowledge that I've gained, I've allergic to any period issues. So it doesn't have to be PMS specifically, but I'm still very focused on the menstrual cycle. So period, PMS, all of these, I have the knowledge and I have the ability to help you. So yeah, that's what I do.
So it's really broader than just the period and PMS. There's a whole health and nutrition pattern for our entire cycle, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Basically, the way it works is your menstrual cycle is not just about the week that you bleed. It's during the entire cycle, so the entire 28 days, your brain structure changes. And if the structure of your brain changes, obviously, your entire body changes. Your abilities change and your needs change. And by looking at brain scans, the scientifics have been able to separate the changes into 4 main phases of okay, your brain is around this structure during the first week, and then these days, and then these days, and these days. And so everything in your body is different from a phase to another, from your metabolism to the nutrition needs, to your ability to do exercise, to the time management. Everything is different because your brain is different. And so the menstrual cycle is about understanding how your brain works and how it impacts the rest of your body as you go through your 28 days.
Okay, so Trish, I figured it out. I'm muting when Audrey's talking so you don't hear all our background noise. I think that's helping. So what I just heard you say is forget about whether you have problems with PMS or a problem with your period. For any and all of us women, there's a cycle. And if we struggle with losing weight, if we struggle with healthy skin, if we struggle with, you name it, inflammation, it may be that we've got a good solution or program, but that it needs to vary based on the time of the month. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. And this is why diets and workout plans don't work for so many women. This is the reason why. It's because they will run And the first week, they're going to see amazing results. And then suddenly they plateau and they're like, I'm running, but nothing happens. It's because, yeah, you've switched phases and running is no longer serving you.
There's so much more about this than just women with PMS. This is something every woman should understand.
Yes, absolutely.
Myself included. I'm on a plateau now on weight loss. That's all I can say. But yes, okay. So, and is it literally, okay, I'm fascinated. So the brain structure, like it physically like changes shape?
Yeah.
Or just the firing neurons fire differently? Changes shape. Okay. Second question then. My brain changes shape. So what worked last week isn't working this week. Does that mean I would actually eat different foods this week than last week?
Yes.
So do you do like a nutrition plan for me based on my cycle?
Yeah. Basically, I show you your body needs different types of calories, or it needs different things. You still get to eat pretty much everything that you want to eat, except the question is not how or what to eat, it's when you eat it. And then voila, solution.
So is there a time in the cycle for chocolate cake?
Yes, my dear, your period.
Okay, this just got really fascinating, as Trish says. Okay, does that explain why we often crave sweets during our period? Is that part of that same thing?
So
there you go.
You will crave. That's the reason why so many women crave things before their period. It's because usually the phase before your period, you need more calories intake. But we have been trained, right? Less calories. I want to lose weight, so we cut ourselves. But our body needs more calories, and by the time you end this phase, your body's like, you know what? I'm gonna take your will away because you're not listening to me. So everything that you see, you're gonna eat it because I've been eating this for the past week, but you didn't give it to me. So in it goes.
You have just explained my entire life. But see, here's the problem. So let me ask this question, because post-menopause, are those cycles still happening?
Differently.
I can still eat cake?
Yes, you can still eat cake.
So the cycle still happens, it just that one particular feature of the cycle goes away.
So your cycle will gradually disappear, and you're gonna have a biology close to the male biology a couple years into your menopause. However, you're still running on some of the same hormone. It's just that instead of your ovaries, your other organs are producing those hormones. So if when you had your period life and your body wasn't used to producing those hormones correctly, when your ovaries stop producing them, the other organs are also confused. And so that's why some of the issues, they change, but that's why menopause is so their bodies for the entire life were like, I don't know what you want me to do. And then suddenly the cycle is gone and your body's like, I still don't know what you want me to do. And so it's the same hormones, it's the same things, but gradually it'll disappear.
Got it. So eventually do I become an 18-year-old boy with metabolism so I can eat anything I want? And I'm just kidding.
Well, maybe if you're really healthy, yeah.
That would be. And if Trish Schallenberger is walking here, I want the metabolism of her son.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that is fascinating. So food is just one thing, I'm guessing. What are the other, like, do you change your skincare depending on which period, like which part of the cycle you're in?
I do, yes.
Huh.
Yeah, you would change. So there are times of the period where your skin it's thicker, and that's when you go to the more like in-depth treatment. So you want to do a mask, you would want to do it after your period. You know the clay masks that go really deep into your skin, or the hair removal. You want to do that when your skin is thick so that it doesn't damage your skin and things like that. And on your period, you want extra nurturing, so hydration more than on your ovulation. Usually I don't even touch my skin because it's like glowing by itself. I'm like, I don't need anything to add. On my period, however, I'll be like, a little more cream here.
Okay. Wow, that is fascinating. So just curiosity, how do you work with your clients? Is it one-on-one? Do you do groups? Do you do training? Like if people were interested in learning more, like how would they work with you? I know we'll show them how to reach you here with I'll just put this up. How if you've got more questions, check out Audrey's website. But how do you work with your clients?
Yeah. So right now I'm still working on one-on-ones. because your period is unique to you. Like the different things that have happened in your life and the way your hormones react, they're still very unique to you. So I still very much like the one-on-one. And okay, let me ask what your symptoms are, and then we'll play with that as it goes.
Do you deal with the mindset stuff too? So many people have, that mood, that aggravation, that blah, that comes with the period. Is that something you deal with people with as well?
Absolutely. And there's two parts of the mindset thing. The first one is I'm feeling like I'm not myself, and that's PMS. That's period issues, that's your cycle that's out of balance. So it gets back into balance the same way that pain or, like acne will get set up. And then there's another piece of the mindset that is like socially implanted to a lot of women, that having a period is gross. And you don't, like it's kind of the shame, and you're less strong, than a man. So there's also a part of the mindset that says, I don't want to live in my cycle because ew.
So we resist it on top of everything else.
Exactly. And that makes it harder for your body to know what you really want. Because if you're starting to cycle up, but your brain keeps firing those thoughts of like, ew, 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 I don't want that, I don't want that, your body just gets super confused and thinks, do you want me to live a cyclical life or do you not? Like, I would like to know.
And that's probably so far in our subconscious that we're not even aware that's happening, is my guess.
It's deep, it's generational, it's cultural. Like I see it as collective trauma against our own bodies.
That makes a ton of sense. And it's interesting, is I remember my daughter saying, she wasn't right when she first got her period, but a little later one time when she was like in this mood that she didn't understand, I remember her going, I don't recognize this. I don't know how to deal with it because I don't know what this is. And bless her heart, she goes, I'm just going to go up to my room till this goes away. She went up to her room, came back down. I said, I'm all better now. But that explains it. Her brain was physically doing something it had never done to her before. So it was wild and unusual. And I guess we get used to it with time. I was blessed to never have that issue. But I've seen it in so many people, and I know it's like they get frustrated with themselves because then there's shame because I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be snappy. I shouldn't be these things. And it's not anything you can control, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it feels super disempowering. I snapped at you and I didn't mean to. I ate the entire chocolate cake and I didn't want to. And, like I feel gross. I feel ugly. I feel gross. I snapped at everyone. I feel like I'm outside of myself and I have no control of it. It's the most disempowering feeling ever. And that, I believe, that really prevents any woman to live her full life. To go say, I want that thing and I'm going to go get it. How can she trust herself if once a month she's like, I don't even know myself.
And I'm an awful person and all those things. So I love this. So you have a process you take people through that covers like all those bases: nutrition, skincare, health, inflammation, mood, anxiety, history, etc. That is amazing. That I'd never put this together quite like this, and it explains a lot of things I never understood about myself or friends of mine or whatever we were dealing with. That's fantastic. So if you could give people who are currently in this sort of cycle that may not know it or that may not even be aware there is another route, like what's one thing we could do? What's one thing people can do to try to help themselves deal with this if they're stuck in the middle of it right now? Outside of, I recommend you reach out to the website and talk to Audrey. But outside, and I know if you guys drop questions in here, by the way, Audrey will be glad to answer them.
Oh, yes.
No matter which feed you're on watching this, if you drop the questions in, I'll tag her, and I know she'll jump in and answer. So I'm going to shut up here and let you answer that one. One tip for us.
Yeah, it can seem pretty complex because there's everything in the cycle. But my first tip, and it's going to be super broad, but I think every woman who has been stuck in the cycle will relate: listen to your body. Because sometimes you feel like going on a run, and sometimes you don't feel like going on a run. And this is not because you're lazy. It's because your body is literally telling you, we have switched phases. So Or last week I ate a salad for lunch, and this week, no way. I eat something cooked and I need a big portion of it. This is not you being lazy. This is your body literally telling you, we have switched phases. I have different needs now. So I think this is like the best thing that you can do. And if you would only do that, you would see the most incredible changes in your body. But it's hard to do because we've been taught to do the opposite. And I hear so many times women have their PMS and they go, oh, it's just the hormones. I'm like, well, yes, that's why you should pay attention to it. It's not an excuse to diminish it.
Great point. We dismiss it instead of saying, oh, that is the hormones. What do I need to do differently? What a great message. Oh my God, that is beautiful. All right, folks, that's massive. And I've heard this a couple times, not related to this, but related to this. It really makes sense. When your body's telling you something, pay attention to it. You may not even know the answer, but at least acknowledge that it's saying, oh, you want something different than what's there right now. That's awesome. That is so awesome. So folks, look, Audrey pops in on our campgrounds occasionally. So you can always, if you're in a campground, you might catch up with her there. You've got the website to go to. Let me put that banner back up, and I'm going to copy it into the comments as well. You don't live with this. We don't have to. And this is somebody who went down the road of a pharmaceutical solution at 13 years old that had side effects that could have derailed her entire life. And instead of letting that happen, went and learned how to make this right. And she's willing and ready and able and doing, I know, sharing this with other people now. So thank you so much for the work you're doing. We are here to fully support you. Anything we can do to do that, we are in. And I'm just really grateful you're part of the group. And thank you for this. It's been an awesome lesson for me, I know, and I'm sure anybody else who's catching this a little bit later today too.
Thank you. I mean, the group has already been such a great support and a life changer for me. So I'm grateful for you, Pam. Thank you so much.
Well, everybody else, I wish you a great Wednesday. It's getting noisier and noisier here as the rain comes down. And here's hoping for a beautiful summer-like day tomorrow here. May it stay that way for you in Quebec. Thank you. And that's all I've got for today, folks. Have a great afternoon. We'll be back tomorrow. Come to the campgrounds. You would not believe the stuff we learned. This is where I meet these amazing people who end up helping each other out in ways that we just never could have imagined. So thanks so much for being part of the group, and I am grateful for you.
Thank you.
Take care.